Hi everyone, my name is Jasmine and I am the founder of Casa de Enfoque, and I have special guest Anna Lunt with me today, and she is one of the photographers on staff with Cornerstone Chapel, our home church in Virginia, and we just wanted to come on here and answer the question, what do people not understand about mission photography? So Anna, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi everyone, my name is Anna. I'm 23 years old and I've been on staff at Cornerstone for about almost 2 years now. I studied digital media and journalism at Liberty University. It was amazing. And that's where I really started to fall in love with broadcast, media, anything creative like that. And I've been born and raised in Northern Virginia. This is my home, so I love it.
Anna, why photography and why missions?
Funny thing is, I didn't actually really do photography much at all until the last 2 years or so. So it's been pretty recent. But I started picking it up when I started working at Cornerstone 2 years ago.
They just threw you in.
Yes, my social media manager taught me, and then I was like, can I take more and more photos? And I just really, really fell in love with it. I'm mainly video. I'm a video producer for Cornerstone, but I think there's a faster gratification when it comes to photography. I can see it and edit it quicker, whereas video can take a lot of hours to get a product done. And so I think I love that fast gratification that you get when you take a photo. And then with regards to missions, there was always like this little interest of travel, and also just serving around the world. Like there's so many people around the world. And so when I heard that we're able to take pictures on mission trips, I was like, wait, I want to go and see if I can take pictures on this trip. And usually there's a trip that comes to mind almost every day, and I'm like, all right, this is the Lord. Like He's telling me, like, I've got to go. And so that happened with Hungary last year, and we'll see. Maybe I'll get to do Uganda next year. Uganda's been coming to my mind a lot, and so I'm thinking maybe that one next year. We'll see what happens, but I mean, it's amazing. I love it.
Do you remember like the exact moment where you remember God like calling you to serve? Was it when you were thinking about Hungary and He kept bringing that to mind, or can you talk about that more?
Yeah, I'm also remembering I would do a little bit of photography when I interned at Cornerstone, but I didn't completely understand like the details of it, and when you learn like the exposure triangle, like there's just little things you learn about photography, and I didn't really learn that until I started working full time. But yeah, it definitely probably would have been over the summertime. I remember like the spring was a bit rough for me. Like what was that, like spring 2024? But then once the summer hit, it was just like this freedom, and moments where it's like, okay, I can go. And you feel the Lord saying like, hey, I want you to go here and I want you to capture these beautiful moments that happen. And so that's probably what it was. It was around like summer 2024.
How did your view of photography change after your first mission trip?
After my first mission trip? When you work at a church, there's only so many different kind of shots. I mean, you can always try and be creative and get something different every week, but it's a lot of the same like worship and teaching and church life and stuff. And so when you go on a mission trip and you're exposed to a whole new environment, like you're indoors, outdoors, the colors are different countries are like different cultures. And so you're exposed to just brand new things. And so I think after that first mission trip, it was really, really cool to see like you can take pictures of like architecture around the world. You get different cultures, you see different ages of kids, and you're working with people on your team too, and you're capturing moments of them serving those people that you see on mission trips. And so that's probably like when it expanded was after those trips, and it was just incredible. It's like, wow, there's like so much that you can go and capture beyond just what's inside a church building.
Yeah. And now, when you were capturing those photos, like on the mission trips, were there any like, oh, maybe I shouldn't capture this, or like, tell me about a few of those moments?
Yeah, no, I've definitely dealt with those. I mean, even like when I think about some of our like middle school and like high school summer camps, there's moments like that too, where there are like kids crying, and it happens too on these mission trips where you really are like, you're watching a moment happen, and instead of like capturing the moment, just be in that moment. And so it's just really, really important to discern that. I know it gets hard and people can get really uncomfortable, and so I usually always try to have a conversation beforehand if they're okay with us taking pictures if it's a difficult circumstance. But again, in those live moments where like the Lord is like reaching out to that person in that moment, and you're just like, no, like, let them be. Yeah, there's different moments. It's hard too, because then you could also say, like, when there's an altar call, people like to have pictures, like, that's the moment I got saved, which is incredible to have a picture of the moment that you literally got saved. So, I don't know, in that moment, I usually am, like, discerning, like, all right, Lord, is this the right spot, or is this the right moment to take a picture? And so that usually helps.
Now, we've been on 2 mission trips together, Hungary and Guatemala. Was there a time during one of those trips where you were like, I don't know about this, or like being in the moment? Because I know for Guatemala, you handled it very well with like being in the moment and doing the photos. So like, was there a specific moment on either of those trips?
I mean, it's part of your story too when you were in Hungary. Like for the Hungary trip this year, we were really trying to like follow a story while it was happening in Hungary. And so we had done some like kind of preliminary interviews with people like saying what was happening during the camp, and then we were gonna get pictures and videos of like when this girl did get saved that we were talking about. But then it ended up being like I was not even there for the moment that she got saved. Like I didn't get any pictures of that. Like that's purely gonna be through storytelling, and it wasn't something I captured. Yeah. And so that was one moment of that. But as far as like Guatemala, that was honestly a bit harder balancing because I was also doing photo and video, and so it's always hard balancing like, okay, I'm gonna get a picture of this and then get a video of that really quick. But yeah, there were a lot of beautiful moments, and I did capture a bit more on the Guatemala trip, like those emotional moments, because they would have these beautiful worship services where people were just like crying, and I didn't get pictures of people just like sobbing all the time. I got like 1 or 2, but I was like once I have my one, that sounds bad. I'm like, okay, like I'll let like people have their moments too, and I don't need to. Yeah. I don't need to get that.
Have you ever struggled with people serving and like you've seen them having fun, but then you're behind the camera?
That's a good one.
Because I know in Guatemala we were like all over the place doing so many things.
I guess the more times I've done photos, the more I've gotten used to kind of just being on my own and wandering. But then I use a lot of those times just to talk with the Lord as I'm walking around, or I'm just singing worship music as I'm walking around. I'm like, like just taking in like how beautiful the surroundings and the environment is, whether in Hungary or Guatemala or like Israel too. I'm just kind of on my own. I've gotten used to that. Yeah. But then it also creates opportunities just to meet people and talk to people I wouldn't normally if I had been like a camp counselor in those instances. So that's been cool, just meeting new people, maybe who are in leadership or something. But yeah, it is like, it's completely different work hours. I'm by myself, working late every night, editing on my laptop.
Oh my gosh.
That's just part of the job.
Hungry. Yeah. We were up till like 11 or
12,
midnight.
Every night.
Just sitting in the one hallway that had Wi-Fi throughout the whole camp.
Yep, one little spot.
Eating.
I have pictures if you need that. We can back it up, I can promise.
Yes, those will be in there. Just eating our beef sticks.
Yes, and snacks while we edit, everything. Every night.
Yep, every night. Why do you believe God chose this gift for your ministry in photography?
That's a good one. I'm trying to remember. I mean, I've always been interested in capturing. It was usually mainly through video. We would always make music videos or iMovie trailers growing up. I didn't really know what that meant in the future. I'd wanted to be a news reporter, or my dream was to be on the Today Show and do some sort of entertainment journalism, which is so funny because I now am always behind the camera, and it's very weird for me to be in front of the camera right now. I'm not used to it. But my mom grew up taking photos, and my grandma was a photographer, so it is really interesting to look back and be like, okay, this has been a recent endeavor, but it is so cool to see like throughout all the years from my grandma to my mom to me, how the Lord has used all of us to go and capture, and especially for me going and capturing his work around the world.
What is something that the mission field taught you that you could never learn back home?
Probably adaptability, especially on mission trips. Like they always tell us like blessed are the flexible, and so that's something you always have to go into, but on every trip is like something's going to change, something with the schedule or who you're capturing, who you're going to interview, who isn't free, who is, and so you always have to be willing to work around other people's schedules, but then also make sure you get what you need. So it's a balance, it's a lot of work, but it's totally worth it.
Is that something you struggled with before going into missions and you were like, whoa, or is that something that like the Lord blessed you to kind of just like roll into?
I was kind of used to it, but I think it stretched me even more going on all these trips. Like even like I know like we've done a lot of global missions trips, but then I've also done like U.S. outreach ones too, where we've gone to like North Carolina to help with like hurricane disaster relief. But a lot of it came from the fact that like our family grew up hosting a lot of foster children, and so every week or so you would get new kids in the house, and so that produced a lot of flexibility in me, as well as my mom had a lot of health issues growing up too, so in and out of the hospital a lot. So from those two like circumstances, and then using that adaptability in the missions field for it to grow even more has just kind of shaped into who I am today.
That's awesome. How has your definition of beauty changed since doing photos in different countries?
Yeah. I know probably a lot of people think it's always with like the nature and the environment you're in, but it's really cool capturing people's emotions and how they're affected by the surroundings and the Holy Spirit in that moment. That's a really, really cool moment to capture. And you're kind of just standing there like in awe, and you're like what in the world? Because you want to take it in yourself, but then you also have a job to do, and so that's a balance. But yeah, it has changed. It's like, okay, yeah, well, look at this beautiful mountain and lake that the Lord created, but then also right behind you is like a kid who is eating 3 meals a day, and he's just so happy, and that is also a beautiful thing to watch.
Yeah. Now, how do you photograph the Holy Spirit? I know you mentioned that in like the last thing you just said. Like, how do you actually capture that? Because you can't really see the Holy Spirit but feel that. So how do you capture that in photos?
Yeah, I mean, I'm heavily affected by music. Like, that's just been since I was a kid. And so like being a part of the worship team growing up and stuff, it's like, oh, I know like this part of a song is coming, and I know typically how it can make me feel. I know how it typically will make me feel, and so I'll kind of see like, okay, let me see how the crowd is going to react by this moment, so I can kind of prepare that way. But also there's Holy Spirit moves when he wants to, and so you just kind of have to always be on your toes, be ready, just to see what's going to happen. And you just look around the room. Like, I feel like I'm just like always watching, looking around, seeing what's going on and seeing how people are reacting to something. And that is the Holy Spirit. And so you're always there, you're always ready, you're on your toes for something like that to happen.
Yeah. Do you pray before shooting, and what does your preparation look like going into capturing the things you do?
Yeah, I mean, I typically always have a shot list, and because like you'll do it so much, it's kind of become part of the motions. But yeah, it definitely is really important to pray. I mean, I'll be honest, like I don't always do it, but then there are moments where I'm like, okay, I should like pray and see like, Lord, lead me where you want to take a photo. And I've had friends too have kind of asked the same thing, and then they'll like convict me of that, which is really important. So yeah, it's definitely something I want to do more. Because it's crazy how you're like, whoa, I wouldn't have like gotten that moment if I wasn't just being attuned to the Lord and His Spirit. So, but yeah, it's super important.
What is the hardest moment you've experienced on the mission fields?
There's one kid from the Guatemala trip that still every day like comes to my head, and he was the one who was like severely malnourished. He was a 14-year-old who was like 4 foot and just this tiny little boy. You would have thought he was 8 or 9 years old. And yeah, watching him and like taking pictures of him like worshiping or playing like with the friends and stuff, I know that was a little convicting. Or some of the girls who were worshiping, who were like leaders and things, like they were just pouring their hearts out, and you're like taking a picture and you're like, wait, let me hold off a little bit. But yeah, there's like 2 or 3 people that come to mind, like from the Guatemala one, where it's like you really, really want to go and take that picture. You're like, oh, this will be good, but then it's also okay. It's okay to leave it. It's okay to leave it.
The moment we've been waiting for. What do people not understand about missions photography?
Ooh. I mean, probably what we had said before is just the late hours. There's always like a time constraint too, because people always need photos every single day, especially on our trips. We like to post every day of what had happened. So it's very, very quick turnarounds, which means you have to work efficiently, stay focused, always be on your toes for whatever's going to happen, and be flexible. That's a big part of it. People don't always realize that, but yeah, it just takes time. But I guess it's like if the Lord has blessed you with like this talent, like use it to the best of your abilities and use everything to glorify Him.
Yeah, and I think something you were saying earlier, like being discerning to the Holy Spirit, you know, like I feel like a lot of people just think you take pictures, but you're actually listening to the Holy Spirit and like, should I or should I not take that photo? And even with video, and like you were saying, walking around the grounds and just praying, like, where should I go next, Lord? Like, I feel like a lot of people don't realize that that goes on, and that's awesome that you're doing that. I think that was a perfect like explanation of what people don't understand about missions photography.
All right, so now it's time for me to ask Jasmine some questions, because while I work at a church, like she wants to do this full-time in missions. So one of my first question is, what does full-time photography in missions look like for you?
So what that looks like for me is I want to capture like the ordinary, like everyday moments in missionaries' lives, and maybe that's doing a dental brigade or doing children's ministry or like serving at the church, but that happens like every day and every Sunday. Like I know for the mission trips, it's a weekend, it's a big thing, but like I want to continue that. And I really want to provide like photos for missionaries so that they can post, and I'll help them with that and people can see what they're doing, because a lot of people don't know what missionaries do in ordinary day to day and like how they serve. And I just want to capture that and show people who aren't missionaries so they can go in there like for support them.
What impact are you hoping your work has on the church?
I want people to obey the Great Commission and to go and make disciples, and I want my photos to like inspire people to go do that, but I also want it to inspire people who, hey, maybe they're called to work. That's great. Like, what are you doing with your money? Like, go support missionaries, because there's only a few people like that go do missions. So like, let's support our brothers and sisters in the mission field. Even maybe maybe you won't ever be called to the mission field. That's fine. But like, how are you helping people who are and supporting people in the church?
How do you want people to feel when they see your photos?
I want them to feel like raw emotions. Like I want them to feel that moment and the power behind it.
Somebody is feeling called towards mission photography, what would you tell them?
That's a really good question. I would tell them to just discern the voice of the Lord and to not be afraid if the Lord tells you to go, and just to go and like do what you were saying, like really just bring God into it, whether it's a business or just a one-time mission trip, or if it's a lifetime, like really bringing God into it so that He can lead you what to capture. Because let's be honest, if we were to go on a mission trip or go capture any type of photo and we just did it ourselves, like there's no way that that photo would have as much impact as if God led us to a specific person or place to take that photo. That would just change it all. So really just listening to this discernment of the Lord and trusting in Him that He will provide camera gear, talent, like learning and knowledge for you.
Can you tell us a bit about why you started taking pictures?
Yeah. So a little bit like your story, my dad did photography as a hobby, and then my mom owns her own business. So I was always surrounded by photography, and I was an iPad kid, so I had an iPad before I had a phone, and I would always just take the iPad out and like take photos of nature. And then once I got my phone, I started taking them on my phone, and then I, stole my dad's camera and started taking pictures then. And then I got enough money to buy my own, and that's how it started. And to think if like my dad didn't do photography, if my mom didn't have a business, like I don't know if I would be doing this right now.
Crazy.
Thank you so much, Anna, for being here. This was so awesome. Just as two photographers to come on and just shed a little light, no pun intended, to just the life of like a missionary photographer, just someone who is heavily involved in missions and photography. Do you have any last closing words, Anna?
Oh, I was not prepared for that. Thank you so much, Jasmine, for bringing me on here, and I really hope that our conversation inspires you and encourages you in your walk to become a missionary photographer.